I'd like to welcome Professor Helen Atkinson, Pro Vice Chancellor and Head of the School of Aerospace, Transport Systems and Manufacturing. Thank you so much, Helen, for being with us today.
It's a real pleasure to join you.
Helen, in terms of careers education, can you tell us what the Manufacturing and Materials Week means for you?
It's a great opportunity for the students to get a much broader perspective on what's going on in manufacturing and materials, to see some industrialists, to hear their views, look at the way manufacturing is developing and look to the future.
Fantastic. So it's giving them a great insight as to what they can expect as I guess they progress through their career and education. What excites you, Helen, about working in this field and the future of manufacturing?
This is a really interesting time to be in manufacturing. Of course, the COVID crisis has led everyone to review the way they do things, what they can do better, what they can do more productively. It really challenges people about taking the bigger perspective around green recovery as well, because as we do go into recovery, making things better, and I mean that in every sense of the word, making things better is the big challenge. So I think it's a very exciting time to be in manufacturing.
Definitely. Helen, what impact do you see Cranfield University making on the future of manufacturing and materials within the green recovery?
So there is a whole variety of really fascinating work going on in manufacturing, which can make a real difference. So everything from within the Enhanced Composites Centre, there is work on producing gloves, surgical gloves, gloves that a surgeon can put on their hand that can be 3D printed direct onto the surgeon's hand, so they get much, much closer and better fit. That is fascinating. There is a tremendous amount of work going on in the additive manufacturing area, looking at how we 3D print in metallic structures, very large components, in a way that can't be done by conventional additive manufacturing. There is tremendous work going on around digital engineering and manufacturing. So how do we make the whole production process digital so that we improve the productivity, we improve the way things are gone about? How do we, for example, non-destructively inspect things during their lifetime so that they improve the life cycle of the component, so that we improve the asset management of that component? Generally, actually, for quite large systems like railway networks, like ships, like the big infrastructure assets. So there's a tremendous amount of really interesting work going on. And I think the important thing about manufacturing is it can make a real difference. So I've seen examples of where work in manufacturing can improve productivity by 20%, for example. So that we know productivity is a challenge. Those are really crucial things for us to propagate outwards into industry.
Yeah, I mean, Helen, that is absolutely a great insight there, because I think to, I guess, the non-engineer, the layperson, they just think of materials and manufacturing and, probably doesn't really think beyond that. But you've given us a really good insight about the work that's going on and the work that needs to go on as well, really to, progress through the 21st century and beyond. Thank you for that. Helen, you've had an absolutely amazing career, which by your very own admission wasn't planned. What's been the secret of your success?
So I think if you look back, I've always wanted to say yes to opportunities. So I was very fortunate when I was at university. I thought I was a physicist. And when I was at university, I discovered metallurgy and materials science. I just thought metallurgy was the most wonderful subject. You look down a microscope, you see these stunning structures inside the structure of the metal or the material. But the point about metallurgy and materials science is that structure, that beautiful structure, actually is the meaning, the origin of material. And so when I graduated, I went into a materials engineering job role. And then as I did a PhD as part of that role, which was a fantastic opportunity to actually challenge myself. It was really hard. It stretched me way beyond my comfort zone. And if you look at what makes the big difference, every time there is an opportunity to be stretched outside your comfort zone, that's the thing to do. Say yes to something that takes you way outside what you feel is where you can do it, kind of thing. It's go for the things that you aren't absolutely sure you can do, and as you do them, constantly look at how to do it better. So one of the real turning points in my career is when I was asked to take on the chairing of the rebuilding of the Students' Union at the previous university I was at. And that is not a classical role for a metallurgist, right? And I led this project. It was a massively complicated construction project to rebuild the Students' Union whilst we kept it operational for all the students. So I'm an expert in nightclubs for undergraduate students. But what it did was it really helped me to understand how a university operates. So for me, that was a big step change, because previously I'd definitely been an academic, sort of. So that took me into understanding universities. And then I became graduate dean at that university. So I learned a lot about how PhDs operate. I was responsible for about 2,000 PhD students. And then I came to Cranfield, and all that previous learning from all those different roles and aspects that I've had, I've brought into my current role as Pro Vice Chancellor. So I think it's an immense privilege doing what I'm doing. It's great to look across all of these different areas, aerospace, transport, and manufacturing. But I originate within manufacturing and materials. That's where I come from. My metallurgy is the discipline. And even yesterday, I was involved in a meeting looking at some metallurgical structures. And wow, was it fab to be, just wonderful, actually, looking at some material structures again, and the tremendous work that was going on there. So, and perhaps just to say, that was in the context of looking at how certain failures can occur. And one of the things I've always felt about the materials side of manufacturing is that it makes a huge difference to life, because if things break, and if they break unexpectedly when you don't expect them to, then you can have a disastrous effect on people's lives. So for me, metallurgy, materials, manufacturing make a huge difference to the quality of life and to the economic health of societies.
Definitely, that's really, really a great insight there, Helen. I feel I've been on a bit of a journey with you, sort of taking me from, I guess, your, the very early start of your career through to nightclubs, and, really, what you were just doing yesterday. So you sort of bring it so alive for me. In fact, your enthusiasm, I'd say it's infectious. So I almost feel like I was there with you. Yeah, no, that is absolutely great insight. So I guess really what you're saying is make the most of every opportunity and just love the challenge, and see where life takes you. No, that is really special. Helen, we all need inspiration as we go through life, especially to enable us to, I guess, reach our potential. Who has been your inspiration?
Many people have been an inspiration to me. I always look to learn from those who are ahead of me and around me. So I try to be very open to all sorts of insight into how to do things best. And I look to other people for inspiration. I also think of students that I've worked with. And I think particularly of a student who I met at a previous university who had come from another country to the UK to study, and his fees were being paid by his family, and his family were in Sri Lanka. And they were they weren't killed by, but their family business was devastated by the huge tsunami that took place on Boxing Day a number of years ago. And of course, when that happened, when the family business was in effect swept away, he had to find a way to see whether he could continue in his studies. And I was his tutor. And I remember the university worked tremendously hard to support this student. We put a lot of support in around him. But I remember talking to him, and he was doing some part-time work to support his studies, and saying, you know, you need to be really careful because you're doing so many hours to actually support your studies. And him saying, I am training my body for hard work. And I actually found that really moving. He had basically said, I'm absolutely determined to get through this. The university's given me help, various organizations have given him help, but also he himself had said, you know, how can I get through this? I'm really going to put my shoulder to the wheel to make this happen. And he came out with a first-class degree at the end. And ever since, I've always felt, every time things get tough, I think of this young man and his absolute determination that he was going to get through his studies, come out the other side. And he to me is an absolute inspiration.
That is an absolutely fantastic story, Helen. I'm going to ask, do you know what happened to him? Did he?
He became a teacher, in fact. So he's actually a teacher in a secondary school now. But he was, when I was involved with him, he was studying for an engineering degree. So he's been a great example of somebody who's gone into a secondary school to actually take his engineering into a secondary school to inspire the next generation of young people.
Definitely, I couldn't agree with you more. We would need people like that going out and inspiring the next generation of engineers and scientists. But yeah, I think what you say is so true. I find, you know, working here at Cranfield University, the students are so inspirational, and I guess that's what I do. That's why, you know, what I do, why I do it, because you know that they ultimately are going to be making a difference, and it's great to be part of their journey along the way and support them.
From Cranfield, a lot of people have gone on to have very successful careers, very fulfilling careers. And I've certainly met alumni who've come back to the university over the 3 years I've been here. They talk with such passion, actually, about their experience here, how it changed them. And even though those who are here for MSCs are only here for a year, it's about being open to being, you know, taking a whole step up in terms of your learning, in terms of your career expectations and aspirations, and taking the best of what Cranfield can actually offer you, making the most of it, and then looking to the future and putting your hard work into creating your future, working with the university on that. So I think when you talk about inspiration, looking to Cranfield alumni for inspiration as well is a fantastic thing to do, because there are certainly people who've come back who said, I want to give back to the university because the university gave to me when I was here and changed my life.
And that is, I think, really, really a great insight into what makes Cranfield so unique and so special. And, you know, I guess, you know, we're both very, very proud to be part of that Cranfield community and family, which isn't just situated here in Bedfordshire, but it's global. And, you know, it's wonderful to know that we're both making a difference in our own different ways. Helen, thinking back to your interview at Cranfield University, what advice have you got for anyone currently going through the recruitment process?
You need to be yourself, but you need to be yourself thinking hard about how you answer questions. You need to be crisp when you're answering questions. So think ahead about what the questions might be. What are the obvious questions that you might be asked? Have an answer at the surface of your mind ready for the sorts of questions you might be asked, and make sure you're going to answer them crisply.
I think that's really good advice there, Helen. I guess it's all about perception. How do you want somebody to perceive you? Playing to your strengths and listening. So I guess we could sum that up with preparation, practice, and research. But yeah, really good advice. So just thinking about advice, what advice have you got for someone wanting to pursue a career in materials and manufacturing?
So you need to, when you go for interview, you need to look at what they need, because they will have a really clear picture of what they actually need. But you also need to know that part of the reason why they're recruiting is because people will bring new thinking into an organization. And so you need to project your knowledge and understanding, your capacity to, in a very mature way, bring new thinking into an organization. And that's not about what I call being in your face. So coming in, waltzing in and saying, well, I can do it much better than you can. That's not what it's about at all. But there's no doubt that manufacturing organizations really want to see themselves renewing by bringing in new people. So you need to be able to project that whilst also really listening to their needs. And I do think it's going to be quite a challenging recruitment market next year. Cranfield students should feel very confident that they are getting a lot of insight into how industry works by being at Cranfield. We are very close to industry. You need to open yourself up to the opportunities you're given whilst you're here, and to really then take that knowledge, that learning that you gained into the job market. What I do think is incredibly important is to believe that you can get that job. So when I graduated in 1981, I graduated into a recession. There was a massive recession going on then. And I remember going for a job, which I was offered, where there were 700, I think it's 700 other applicants. Wow. I got the one job they were actually offering. So if you prepare, if you research the role that is being offered and the company that you're actually going for the interview for, do really good preparation, and then go in there and believe in yourself and what you have to offer.
That's fantastic, Helen. I couldn't have said it better myself. And again, I just want to say that we have got the Career Development Service here at Cranfield University. And, we're here to empower the students and I guess help them complement their academic foundation as well, and make sure they reach their potential and that they get to where they want to get to. But again, I can't echo enough it's about self-belief. And it's known that you've got this whole network around you, academics, student experience, and we all have that belief that you can do it. So it's about positive thoughts as well in life, I feel. Okay, Helen, have you got any closing comments for us?
Take the opportunities. Use the opportunities that you're offered here at Cranfield. Use the industrialists who do have a lot of connection with us. They will want to be talking to you. We have a lot of people who are very supportive of Cranfield. So every opportunity, make the most of it, and really use the time at Cranfield to grow, to make that step up in terms of the next stage in your career.
Fantastic. Helen, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and again, getting your insight into the Manufacturing Materials Week. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.